This is The Bracketologists, your home for March Madness coverage, presented by Anchor.
Sweet 16 is well on its way, and we've got a lot to talk about it. How's it going, guys? I'm Brandon Matula.
And I'm Thomas Hicks.
And this is The Bracketologists, your home for March Madness coverage. Tommy, what a great first two rounds of the tournament. Like, I couldn't have asked for better. I mean, we could have kind of asked for better. Like, we could have asked for maybe some buzzer beaters, but besides that, I think we're getting a good tournament so far. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I agree. Like, besides the lack of buzzer beaters, which, isn't the most important thing, almost all the games have been, like, pretty close, within at least 10 points, and then, eventually a team kind of runs away with it. But, yeah, for the majority of the games, wondering who's going to take it has been a pretty big question throughout. So I've been really enjoying how close the games are and how much passion the players have this season.
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing that I've really liked is the amount of overtime games. That's just something I haven't seen a lot of in March Madness. Like, you usually see the buzzer beater and it just, like, it's the game's over. Like, no need for overtime, But now, like, we're just starting to see how closely contested all these games are. Like, a lot of these games are going to overtime. I mean, I think there was like 3+ in the first round, and I don't know if that's a record, but like, come on, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not something you see every day, especially in March Madness, but it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I gotta say, y'all, I really missed doing this part of the show, just talking on the mic with Tommy here. We got a great show for you guys for the upcoming Sweet 16. Before we do that, though, we're gonna go over the round of 64. Tommy and I are going to pick two games each that really stick out to us, kind of just break down our thoughts of each one. And then we'll do the same for the round of 32. And then we're going to break down the Sweet 16 and make our Final Four predictions. And we're just going to leave it at that. We'll make championship predictions when we get to it, or when we get to the Final Four. But yeah, we're not going to do everything all at once today. So we're just going to do what's necessary, and that's the Sweet 16. But let's go ahead and get this show on the road. So round of 64, Tommy. A lot of exciting matchups, lots of upsets.
Yeah.
I'll start with you. We could just flip-flop. What game stood out to you the most? So I want your number one starting out. I want to give the folks
I think
Tommy.
Man, it's been tough. A lot of, obviously St. Peter's is a very notable game with Kentucky. The Memphis Boise one was pretty important as well. It was interesting watching Georgia State, be able to keep up with Gonzaga for the majority of the games. But what stood out to me the most is because they're still rolling is Michigan versus Colorado State.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be my first game. Michigan beats Colorado State 75-63, which was not the biggest upset in the world. It was, a team that's been to the tournament before, which is Michigan. And Colorado State, here and there they've been. But the fact that they beat Tennessee in the round of 32 is very important. So I'm not trying to skip ahead here, but Michigan, they beat Colorado State. They're looking pretty good. They're not looking as banged up as Michigan State. But they still are looking a little ruffled in the feathers. Like Juwan Howard, obviously coming back from that controversy and being able to overcome all the heat that came from that in the media, I think really motivates his players. Because Michigan, this is a good basketball team. Michigan's always been a basketball school. They've always been able to perform basketball-wise. And so I'm not crazy surprised, but being able to put a pretty good beat down on Colorado State was really fun to watch. A lot of people had Colorado State. I personally had Michigan, but Colorado State, they had the better record. They're 25-6. Michigan's 18-14. That's a very bad record. Hunter Dickinson, 21 points. He went 8 for 10, and he went perfect with his free throws, making all 5. And Colorado State, they did have the lead for a good portion of the game, but Michigan just turned things around. About 12 minutes left in the second half. So that was really fun to watch. Like for the whole time I was watching, I was like, okay, Colorado State's going to take it. This is the first game of March Madness. I'm super pumped. But with that turnaround from Michigan, man, it was just exciting. It's like, okay, this is a perfect introduction to March Madness, not knowing who's going to take it. With Michigan, you know, a lot of people expected them to win. Colorado State taking it by a lot, and then Michigan coming back. Like, a lot of fun, man. A lot of 3-pointers, which was cool. Michigan had 28.6%. Colorado State had 34.3%. So that was pretty interesting as well to see. Like, but the rebounds is what matters. And Michigan was just out rebounding like crazy, which did come with the downside of more turnovers. But yeah, Michigan beating Colorado State is going to be my first game of the round of 64. That is pretty notable. Obviously, and then I will get to that with Tennessee in the round of 32. But that is my first game.
Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot, Tommy. I picked Colorado State going pretty far. As we've mentioned before, I know somebody on that team. He used to play here at DBU, and he did pretty well in that game. Chandler Jacobs, his one only time to play in March Madness. I mean, congrats to you, Chandler, if you're listening to this. It's quite an accolade. Fifth-year senior scoring title at DBU, and then making it to March and making a difference for your team. So that's awesome. Yeah, I was surprised with Michigan winning because, you know, like they were at the time, they were only a 17-win team. And a lot of people were like, why is this team in the tournament? You know, like this is ridiculous.
Oh.
But I mean, rightfully so. They've kind of proven why they are where they at. So I'm excited to see what the Wolverines do going forward. And of course, you're going to talk about them later with your 32 selection. But yeah, let's go with mine. Man, I can't like avoid this. Like, I got to talk about Kentucky and St. Peter's. Like, that game was incredible. Like, I highlighted it on our round of 64 YouTube video. And it was just, gosh, it was just such a great game. And I was just, I just didn't think this was even possible because I really, like Tommy and I were, I mean, we disagree on a lot of things, but one thing that we were pretty in agreement on was that the Wildcats were legit. Like, I know they lost in the conference semifinal, but I mean, they lost to Tennessee, the conference champion. And the SEC's been really strong this year. So for the Wildcats to go lose this game in overtime is pretty crazy. And there's a lot of like things that jump out at you in this game is St. Peter's tied them in the first half in scoring, and then obviously tied them in the second half in scoring. So really this game came down to overtime. It was tied in pretty much every statistic. Rebounds is 35-36, turnovers 15-13. But the big thing that went in favor for the Peacocks was 3-point percentage. The Peacocks had 53% from the field, and Kentucky's 27%. Like that, gosh, that is atrociously low. And now looking at this, because I watched towards the end of the game where it went into overtime. So now I have more context as to why the Wildcats just did not win. But best of luck to the Peacocks going forward. One guy that I really, really enjoyed watching on their squad was a guy that came off the bench, and it was Eddard. He had 20 points in the game, 5 of 7 shooting, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. We talked about how free throws and making them consistently like this can make your team go far. And if you look at it, Tommy, like let's say he had a 75% night at the free throw line. That would have made this game one possession closer, and then Kentucky could have hit a 3 or something, you know? So great job by the Peacocks. Again, I'm excited to see where they go from here and if they can make some more noise in the Sweet 16.
Nice. Yeah, that was really fun to watch. Kentucky, we talked a lot about them before we got into the tournament, and I didn't think, that they were going to go crazy far, but to lose in the first round, got to tip my hat off to St. Peter's. That's awesome. So to go with my second game here in the round of 64, I got to mention that UNC Marquette game. Now UNC and Marquette, it's interesting because after watching this game, I was like, maybe UNC was a little underseeded, and Marquette was overseeded, being 19-13. Marquette and UNC being 25-9 as an 8th seed. Man, this game was crazy. In the first half alone, it's 53-25. And then in the second half, North Carolina scores 42. Marquette kind of comes back a little bit to score 38, but it's just not enough. They get absolutely walloped. 95-63 is the final score. UNC, the Tar Heels, taking that by a huge margin. And UNC carrying that lead for a large portion of the game. Got to shout out Brady Manick's performance, 28 points. He went 10 for 15 from the field goal, which is incredible, as well as 3 for 3 from the charity stripe. And UNC just outplayed. I mean, they had a 45% field goal percentage, same amount of turnovers as Marquette, but 52 rebounds compared to Marquette's 37, and then 37% from the three compared to Marquette's 25. So, Marquette, I actually did pick, luckily I picked UNC, but I didn't pick them in the round of 32, which I will also get to right after Brandon Sun with his second 64. So both kind of my round of 64 teams are kind of alluding to my 32 ones here. But yeah, UNC, I think a lot of people didn't think they were as legit as they are, but man, oh man, they're coming to play. They're hungry. And it was, I thought that they were going to beat Marquette, but to beat them by a margin that big, I think we got to keep our eyes on them.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in their second round win over Baylor, which we'll probably get to later. Yeah, I really like this game. Great pick, by the way. Just like North Carolina just came with the right energy that they needed. Like, I don't know the exact statistics on this, but if you win by a lot in your first game, like you're going to be in good shape and you have really high odds of making it to the Sweet 16. And I'll tell you why. You're getting shots up. You're seeing the shots go in. It's getting your morale up. That really helps you. And that really helps you in the second round. And we saw that with a lot of teams that won by big margins in these ones. So definitely be looking out for North Carolina. I really liked watching them. Another game that I wanted to mention in the round of 64, and then Tommy will give his round of 32 after this, was 6-seed LSU and 11-seeded Iowa State. Out of the predictions that I made in, I think it was Wednesday's video, I said that you shouldn't bet on LSU because, of their coach, and they had the NCAA violations. But I got to say, LSU, for a team who didn't have their coach, they played really well against Iowa State. And I got to say, I really do respect this Iowa State team. One thing that I really liked out of the Cyclones was Hunter, guard. Hunter hitting that big Dame Doll three.
Tyrese Hunter.
Yeah, I couldn't.
He was a dog.
Yeah, he can play, and I think this is, like, honestly, if this guy can get his team to the Final Four, I think that's fair to say. If he could get his team to the Final Four, he could be named most outstanding player in the tournament, because he is just playing incredible, and they got a 10-seed matchup against Miami in the Sweet 16, so that's going to be fun to watch. But in this one, though, he was just like oohing and awing everybody at Texas Live. I got to watch this game in a pretty big, fun atmosphere, so I'm sure he was oohing and awing people at wherever they played, Milwaukee, in front of probably a really full house with a lot of Cyclone fans. So watch out for these Cyclones. I think they're going to really make some noise in the Sweet 16. We'll get to predictions later, but yeah, that was really exciting. How do you feel about Tyrese Hunter, Tommy? It sounded like you knew a little bit about him.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his for a little bit now. I've kind of been following along with Iowa State this year because I watched Iowa State in person a couple years ago, and ever since then I'm like, you know what, this is a sport, this is an organization that they want their name heard. Iowa State, like, why, unless you're from Iowa, why would Iowa State be on your noggin, But they're a legit organization, football and basketball. They've had some pretty good years lately. Now, Tyrese Hunter, he's nothing crazy, right? He's averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Good stat line, nothing, crazy. And he's a 6 foot, 178-pound freshman. Like, he's you have every reason to doubt Tyrese Hunter, but he's giving you every reason not to. And if I'm an NBA scout and I need a point guard, I'm going to be looking straight at Tyrese Hunter because the way
Yep.
he's playing lately, like there's just no stopping the man. He's just playing absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. He had that crazy shot against LSU to beat LSU. The three that was like way deep. That was awesome. 23 points against them. And then in the round of 32 against Wisconsin, he had so let me look at the box score real quick. I just saw it. He just had 4 points in that one.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I'm looking at him like, okay, how much can I trust this guy? But his performance against LSU, he was just feeling confident. I think if you get Tyrese Hunter in a confident mode, he can perform. So keep an eye on him throughout the tournament. I really liked him, as well as just real quick, if I'm talking about players that I liked, you guys know I was real high on St. Mary. I've been real high on them the entire season. They beat Indiana by a huge margin, 53-82, almost 30 points. And St. Mary's, they're just a legit team. Now, Logan Johnson, that was my player to watch this season. He had 20 points against them. He had a great game. I do have UCLA taking it all the way, but Logan Johnson played pretty good against UCLA as well, averaging 18 points. So, those are the two players, and it's sad that St. Mary's is out of it. They gave their best, and Logan Johnson's a senior. But yeah, if I got to pick someone like Tyrese Hunter, man, he's killing it. So
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to the round of 32. Making good time here. Tommy, I want to hear, these games are a little bit easier to select because they're closely seeded games, and both are teams that have at least one win in the tournament. So I want to hear your two games. So start out with your best. What was the best game you watched in the round of 32?
Like I was alluding to, I just got to give it to Michigan again, beating Tennessee. Now, Tennessee was supposed to go really, really far in this tournament. A lot of people had them really high. I know I did. I know I had them going all the way to the Elite Eight. So for UNC to come out and just give them, not UNC, for Michigan to come out there and just give them a good game, a hard-fought game, I can't complain. It was fun to watch. And Michigan, man, they just got that experience. I think that's what you got to – you look at this game, you go, okay, Michigan beats Tennessee 76-68. Tennessee's a 3 seed, Michigan's an 11 seed, and they're not – they have a pretty bad record. Tennessee's record is pretty good. Why did Michigan beat Tennessee? I think you just got to give it to that experience, right? You got to give it to Michigan being a consistent basketball school, knowing that they've been here before. So that's my first round of 32. I don't have too much to say about this game other than I just want to tip my hat to Michigan. Brooks, he's playing. And Hunter Dickinson, though, like 27 points, got to tip my hat off to him as well. So congrats to this Michigan team. Like, they're playing Villanova. That's not going to be an easy team to beat, but gosh, they've got the momentum. They're a hot team right now, and it's been fun to watch them. So that's my first game.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the Wolverines in this tournament. I like the resilience and just having postseason mentality. Truly, anybody can win this. It's one of those years where there's truly not a best team, because the team I'm going to talk about next, even the top, is not even that secure. And that's a perfect segue into the game I'm going to talk about, and that was the matchup between Gonzaga and Memphis. This one was my favorite one to watch this weekend because I had high hopes in Memphis. I really thought Memphis could make a big run, but it was just, their positioning and being a 9 seed in this bracket just was unfortunate. But now if they were a 9 seed where North Carolina, we're in North Carolina's bracket, like in the Midwest, or not the Midwest, I think it's the East region. Yeah, where Baylor is playing. And if they were there, I think Memphis could have won that. So it's just a matter of having to play pretty much the number one team in the country. I got to give shout outs just to the entire Memphis squad. Like, there was no guy that really stood out and just scored a bunch of points. This was just truly a team effort to get close to beating the Bulldogs. They were up by 10 at half. One guy that I was happy to see back was Amani Bates. He only went 2 for 7, not too good, but he had a nice turnaround jumper towards the end of the game to take the lead. Once again, but man, just unfortunate that they came short against Gonzaga. But you got to give it to Drew Timme. 25 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more you need to do than that to have a positive effect on your team. Yeah. Drew Timme is just truly an inspiring player. I love watching him. Great leader too. Great leader. He was talking about the post-game interviewer interviewed him and said, like, what'd you tell your guys? He's like, hey, I don't give an F of what happens after today, but we're going to go out there and lay it all down on the court while his team was down by 10. And they heeded his words and they just went from there. One point of concern for this Gonzaga team, I didn't like Chet Holmgren's the way he played towards the end of the game. It just wasn't convincing to me. So I'm not even sure if this Gonzaga team can go all the way, but I might be wrong because I'm not too confident in the teams that they're playing. Like, I don't know if the teams that they're going to play in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, I don't know if they're capable of beating them, but there's definitely other teams in the widespread bracket that can beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think they have a pretty easy run with Arkansas. I think Tech could give them a run for their money. But other than that, like, I'm not quite sure, I have UCLA beating them, just take a risk in this bracket. But, man, great game. Chet Holmgren is an absolute cheat code on defense. He's just getting block after block after block. But this Gonzaga team, you got to give it to them because they're a second half team. They are not a first half team. If you were betting on the first half, you're going to bet against the other team every time. And it's because the other team goes, okay, if we want to beat Gonzaga, we got to play our hardest. So they just give all their energy in the first half and they're out of energy for the second half. So congrats to Gonzaga. That's a great pick. For myself as well, I'm going with the same team I did for the 64. North Carolina beating Baylor. They're a hot team. This is a hot team right now, and I'm a little nervous because I have UCLA taking it all this year, and they're playing North Carolina, and I don't know, man. North Carolina is just a hot team. They beat Baylor 93-86, and Baylor was a 1 seed, already out in the round of 32, and it went into overtime as well. So RJ Davis with 30 points, 9 for 10 from the charity stripe, 8 for 17 field goals. Like, that is just incredible.
Yeah.
UNC, they're just playing good basketball. They get almost 10 more rebounds than Baylor. They have a way better 3-point percentage. This is a 3-point team. Now, UNC hasn't been a 3-point team every year, but this year we can confidently say this is a 3-point UNC team. Way better, almost 50% from the field goal, 49%. Like, that is just crazy. But a heck of a lot more turnovers. But hey, I mean, if you're winning, what's a king to a god? What's a god to a king? So congrats to North Carolina, like beating Baylor. That's just awesome. It's just fun to see. And it does stink a little bit, man. It's just fun to see these higher seeded teams get beat early. It just makes the tournament fun, makes it crazy. Who's going to win? So congrats to them. And that was my second pick.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to add to that is, like, kudos to the Bears this season. I mean, like, gosh, like, they were down to 6 guys in this game because Matthew Mayer got hurt, rolled his ankle towards the end. Guy that came off the bench last year in that national championship win. Man, valiant effort, y'all. Like, gosh, if you're a Baylor fan and you're listening to this, be proud of your team. They did their very best, and shots just didn't fall for them. Great comeback, great game, but all credit to the Tar Heels for knocking down the defending champions. So I'm excited to see what they do. All right, a matchup that I could not resist talking about. I'm going to talk about Houston and Illinois. Like, after this game, like, really got people talking, mainly about the refs. People weren't happy with that technical call on hanging on the rim for Illinois. That's up to one's own interpretation. But Houston's defense in this one was on full display, and it was the best it could have been to beat this Illinois team. They ended up winning 68-53, and gosh, dude, like holding him to 26 points and 27 points in the first and second periods. Like, come on, you can't, like, this team is better than a 5 seed. Like, the way that they played, and their best player didn't even have a great game. So could you imagine if Fabian White Jr., who's been incredible down the stretch, averaging 20 plus in the last 8 plus games, can you imagine if he had a game, like if he had more than 6 points, like let's say he went 4 of 8 of shooting and had like 16 something, it would have been a blowout. And this game was kind of already a blowout. So if you're a Arizona Wildcats fan, be scared about these Cougars because they can take your bid away from making it to the Elite Eight and possibly a Final Four. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch in San Antonio. But just great win by the Cougars. Really did a great job shutting down Kofi Cockburn, and great hustle play from Fabian White towards the end. He did like the Jordan jump, like saving a ball, and he knocked it back in. And Cougars got a transition layup, and it was just, gosh, it was awesome. Great game to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for games that really raised our eyebrows. Now is the fun part. Tommy and I get a redemption bracket because neither of our brackets are perfect. I know that for a fact because ESPN and the March Madness Instagram page keep reminding us that there's no more perfect brackets. Unless, Tommy, you have a paper bracket somewhere.
I wish.
But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and just predict the Final Four. So we'll just go by region and we'll just make our picks quickly and give y'all some analysis of why we pick who we pick. So let's start with the West region. This one's going to be in San Francisco. Like that's pretty cool. It's at the Chase Center where the Warriors play. So I think that's a great location for this matchup. Gonzaga and 4 seed Arkansas is the game on the top portion of that bracket. So, Tommy, who are you taking in that one and why?
I'm taking Gonzaga. I was never too hot on Arkansas. I guess I should have been. I had UConn beating them and then UConn playing Gonzaga. But I don't know. I think this Arkansas team, yes, they're hot right now, but I think that they lose their momentum starting right now in the Sweet 16. And I think Gonzaga after, they're a second half team, and after people noticing that on live television, I think they start to kick things up a notch. So I'm going to go Gonzaga.
Nice. Yeah. I agree very much. I think if this game was played at Arkansas, like their home court, I'd give them a shot. I mean, St. Mary's was able to do it. Why not the Razorbacks? But this is not the WNBA. We're not playing tournament games. Like there's no home court advantage in March Madness. So I'm going to go with Gonzaga. This is almost a home game for them. It's not that much of a drive compared to everyone else. Duke is coming all the way across the country. Texas Tech is coming from Lubbock, and then Arkansas is coming from Arkansas to play in San Francisco. So Gonzaga, I really like Gonzaga in this regional as a whole, but let's go ahead and pick the second set of games in the West region. Texas Tech and Duke. This is a tough one because both of these teams are great. Texas Tech, in my opinion, is playing better down the stretch, but Duke has the more impressive talent. Tommy, what are you thinking on this one?
Oh, tough one, but I'm going Tech. I've been high on Tech this season. I think Tech is legit, and Duke has been really, really fun to watch. I think the fact that it's Coach K's last season gives them just that much more motivation, but I think Tech is they're just playing too good right now. I think they're way too well coached as well and way too well mannered. So I'm going to go Tech.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to go Duke on this one. I think Coach K's legacy is a very big theme for this team this year, and they've let him down in his final home game. They let him down in the ACC championship game. I just don't think the Sweet 16 is where they're going to let their coach down and lose. So I'm going to take the Duke Blue Devils in this one. And I'm pretty sure we have the same pick for who takes the regional. I'm going to go with Gonzaga just because I just think they outsize Duke by a lot. And I just think Duke's going to have a hard time rebounding and playing good defense on this very long and athletic Gonzaga team. So I'm going with the Zags on this one, and Coach K's last game being in the Elite Eight.
I agree. Yeah, I've got Gonzaga taking it as well against obviously I picked Tech, but yeah, I got whoever wins. No, but regardless, I have them losing to Gonzaga.
Nice. All right, let's move on. East region now. North Carolina versus UCLA. Fun fact, there's the 1 and the 2 seeds are out of this one. So Baylor was the 1 seed and Kentucky was the 2 seed. This is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be hosted in Philadelphia. So UCLA pretty close by. I mean, not UCLA. Gosh, not UCLA. North Carolina misread the bracket. Yeah, North Carolina is pretty close by. So is Purdue in this regional. So they'll have home court advantage. But I think St. Peter's is too. I think they're in Virginia or something. But UCLA traveling across the country. Tommy, who do you like in this matchup? North Carolina or UCLA?
Well, as I said before, I got UCLA winning the entire bracket. I think they're way too well coached. I think their players are way too good. I just love what I've seen from UCLA, and it's scary. It really is, because this North Carolina team is very, very hot. But I got to stick to my guns here. I got to stick to what's right. Even if I don't think UCLA is going to win, I got to have faith in them, and I do think that they'll win. I think it'll be really, really close, but, oh, man, it's a scary game. I'm going UCLA.
Nice. Great pick. I'm going to go with North Carolina in this one. I just like the fact that they're a little bit closer to home than everybody else. So, and I mean, they're coming off of a 1 seed win. So if they can beat 1 seeded Baylor, I think they can pack a punch against UCLA. All right. Purdue versus the Cinderella of this year, St. Peter's. Purdue versus St. Peter's. Who you got, Tommy?
Man, I'd love to see St. Peter's win. I have Purdue going really far as well. I have them going to the Elite Eight and losing to UCLA, but I'm hoping St. Peter's shakes Purdue a little bit. You know, I did pick Purdue to win, but I think I'm going to, for the sake of my bracket, I hope it's St. Peter's, because I think UCLA would beat St. Peter's over Purdue. But to be realistic here, I got Purdue, and I've got Purdue about 18 points. I don't see the St. Peter's team beating a team as good as Purdue. Purdue's just been well played. Just been a well-rounded team all season. So that being said.
Nice. Yeah, I got Purdue as well. I think their size is just going to really outshine St. Peter's as a whole. They got that 7-footer. Looks like Yao Ming. Very tall guy, I think he's 7'2" or 7'3". So, so you got to go with that matchup. I mean, they got that size in there. Great skill. And Purdue's been pretty great down the stretch. They're trying to redeem themselves from losing the Big Ten tournament. So an Elite Eight would be ideal for them. So I think that's where they want to be. Okay, Tommy. So we have different picks here. So I want to hear yours. Who's taking the whole region in the East?
I got to go UCLA. Those are my guys. I think they're way good. I just love what I've seen. And man, I think they can really turn on the turbo. So I'm going to go UCLA.
Nice, man. This is tough. I think I'm going to go with North Carolina. I really like what I saw. Even though Baylor came all the way back, they were still able to pull it out and just play it safe. And I think North Carolina is here to stay. So I think an 8 seed this year is going to New Orleans for the Final Four. So that'll be interesting to watch. Okay, South region now, 2 more to go. Arizona versus Houston. Out of all the matchups in the Sweet 16, I think this is one that everybody's going to be watching. I think it's too good to miss. Besides the Texas Tech Duke game, out of those two, those are the best. Tommy, who do you got in this one?
I've got Arizona going to the championship and losing to the Bruins, but if I'm being straight up honest, I think Houston takes this one. They're just playing way too good right now, way too solid of a team. I've got no reason as to why Houston would lose this game other than Arizona's 1 seed mojo. But even then, Houston doesn't care about you're seeded. So I'm going Houston.
Nice. I'm going to go with the Cougars too. I think they're playing way too good right now. And the funny thing is, it's not even the right players that are playing good right now. It's their secondary stars. It's not their superstar like Fabian White or Jamal Shed. It's been Taze Moore and Kyler Edwards. So it's like you don't know what you're going to get from the Cougars, and when you don't know what you're going to get on the defensive side, it makes things really difficult. And I don't think the Wildcats are going to do very well containing the Cougars. So I'm going to take the Cougars going to the Elite Eight. All right. Your team that you've been talking about all episode, Michigan and Villanova, rematch of the 2018 championship, I believe. Yes, that's right. 2018 championship. Which was actually in San Antonio. So that's an interesting storyline right there. 4 years later, they're playing in the same place. Who do you got in this one?
This one's tough. I like Michigan's mojo, but Villanova, I think the Villanova is going to be able to step things up. They've been a little scary all tournament, but I think I have faith in Villanova. It's once again another kind of a tough matchup, kind of like UCLA and North Carolina. I think it's kind of a coin flip. But yeah, got to go Villanova. I like what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah, I like Villanova in this one as well. Gillespie, gosh, too good. He's too good, bro. He really missed out in last year's tournament. I think if he was fully healthy against the Bears last year in the Elite Eight, I think Villanova could have beaten the Bears. Out of anybody in the Baylor Bears path, if Villanova was fully healthy, they could have won it last year. And that was because of Gillespie. So I'm going to go with Villanova winning here. And yep, so we have the same South Regional Championship here. So who are you taking in the South Regional Championship?
Gosh, tough, but I guess I'll go Houston. It's tough, man. I think it could honestly be either of these four teams between Arizona, Houston, Michigan, and Villanova, but got to go with my gut here. I think Villanova does beat Houston, and I got Houston.
Yeah. I think, sadly, I think the Cougars' run is going to come to an end here. I think Villanova is just going to figure out how to bottle up the Cougars defensively. I think the Cougars will finally have a poorer shooting day, and they just won't be able to make a return to the Final Four. And Gillespie will avenge last season for them not making it to the Final Four. Last regional, Midwest. Kansas versus Providence. I mean, I'll go ahead and give mine. This one's a no-brainer. I think Kansas is playing way too good right now to be challenged by a team like Providence. I mean, I know Providence is from the Big East, but Kansas, man, they're playing amazing down the stretch. Agbahi is just playing great. 19 points a game on the season. So I got the Jayhawks heading to the Elite Eight in Chicago.
Yeah, I like Providence. I wish they would win. Just it'd be cool to see Providence make a huge rumble in this tournament. But gotta stick with my guns here. Gotta go Kansas just because they are playing really, really well right now. I don't think they are the best one seed in the tournament. I don't think anyone does, but they're playing like it. That's for sure. So I gotta go Kansas as well.
Absolutely. All right. Interesting. The only 10+ seed matchup on the bracket right now. 10 seed Miami and 11 seed Iowa State. Tommy, who do you got in this one?
Oh, man. I'm really ticked off at Miami for beating USC. I'm a big USC guy. And that Auburn game was ridiculous. Auburn was playing just horrible. That being said, I don't think Miami keeps the mojo going. I think Iowa State does. Iowa State's just got a lot more going for them. The story and just better players. So I got to go Iowa State by a pretty big margin.
Nice. All right. So we got the same Elite Eight matchup here in the Midwest region. So this is I know it's 1 against 11 seed, but at the same time, they're from the same conference, and Iowa State might have advantages over Kansas that other teams may not. This one's tough. I'm going to give this one to you first, Tommy. Who do you got in this one?
Between Kansas and Iowa State, if my predictions are correct, I go Kansas. I think Kansas is the better team than Iowa State. As much as I love Iowa State's run, just don't think they have it in them. I'm gonna go. Got to go Kansas. Kansas is gonna beat them.
I think this one will be close because it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. We saw that in the American Championship. We saw that with Duke this year against Virginia Tech. So I got to go with Kansas. I think they're the better team, but this one's going to be close. This might come down to one shot, but yeah, that does things for us for predicting the Final Four. So my Final Four, I've got Gonzaga, North Carolina, Villanova, and Kansas. And then Tommy, you've got Gonzaga, UCLA, Villanova, and Kansas, right?
Yep, that's right.
Cool. All right. Well, that's our Final Four. Let us know what y'all think. Best of luck in y'all's brackets. We still have Austin winning the bracket as depressed Oklahoma State fan. So best of luck going forward, Austin. But that about does things for us here today at the Bracketologist. Tommy, any closing thoughts going into the Sweet 16?
Best of luck to everyone. We got a really fun bracket this year, and the last thing I'll say is that it looks like anyone can take it, and I really like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really anybody's game, and whoever's hot is going to take that trophy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace.
This has been The Bracketologist, presented by Anchor. We'll see you guys next time.